Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Right, okay, let's take a look at the most expensive Arsenal signing from every Premier League season, dating back to 2000, and rate their times at the club out of 10. 2000, 2001, SYLVAIN WILTORD 9 out of 10. Okay, some Arsenal fans might compare SYLVAIN WILTORD to a bucket of toilet bleach, considering he often left his first touch on the breakfast table. He was a club record £13 million signing from Bordeaux, just weeks after his last minute strike for France in the Euro 2000 final. His strike rate at Arsenal, 31 goals in 106 appearances. You know, it's a record that might make Shane Long make a mess in his pants, but it certainly didn't befit that of a record signing at Arsenal. Still, he scored a title-winning goal at Old Trafford in May 2002, so for that alone, I mean, this man gets a 9 out of 10. 2001-2002, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst 6 out of 10. An £8 million arrival from Rangers in June 2001. This fellow was supposed to be the perfect replacement for Manuel PETR in midfield. Instead, his debut season coincided with a cruciate knee ligament injury. Yeah, he won a bunch of trophies, but he only made 41 league appearances in his 2 seasons at the club. It wasn't great, let's be honest. 2002-2003, Gilberto Silva 9 out of 10. I think Gilberto Silva was actually one of the most underrated Premier League midfielders of all time. Yeah, the lad only cost £4.5 million from Atletico Mineiro in August 2002, something that wouldn't buy you Paul Pogba's left ear in today's market, but still, he was a superb addition. 6 seasons, 244 appearances, winning 2 FA Cups, the Premier League title, and reaching the Champions League final. The perfect partner alongside Vieira in midfield. Oh, and if you thought the man didn't score goals, smash your head off the kitchen table, because you are very, very wrong. 10 league goals he scored in his second last season at the club. Something the likes of Jack Grealish can only fantasize about at night. And that fella's worth 50 million quid. I mean, if he's actually worth 50 million, then my left sock is worth at least a tenner. And I haven't watched that for 6 goddamn weeks. 2003-2004, Jose Antonio Reyes 8 out of 10. It's a tragedy what's happened to Jose Antonio Reyes, and just another reflection of how hopelessly cruel and short life can actually be. The man should feel proud of what he's accomplished. 5 Europa League titles is nothing short of historic. A starting role in Real Madrid's league title success back in 2007, but his time at Arsenal, it was filled with magical moments. Yes, he pined for the Spanish weather every 6 weeks in the media, but come on, what Spaniard doesn't do that sooner or later? And yes, I know David Silva is a saint, pipe down in the comments. A stunning strike at Stamford Bridge on his debut, league titles, FA Cups, a Champions League final, the ability to wind up the Manchester United defence, and a breathtaking partnership with Thierry Henry. In his brief 3-season stint in England, Reyes was a damn good player. May he rest in peace. 2004-2005, Manuel Almunia 4 out of 10. It's mental to think that Manuel Almunia was once a football club's biggest signing of the summer. It's like giving your kids nothing but a bottle of shampoo for Christmas. Actually, on second thoughts, maybe just a bottle of cat diarrhea. He was a 4.5 million arrival from Celta Vigo in June 2004 and was supposed to be Jens Lehmann's backup and nothing more. Instead, he lasted 8 years at the club, played nearly 200 times, including in a Champions League final, and displayed all the focus and concentration of a drugged up panda. 2005-2006, Alexander HLEB 8 out of 10. Alexander HLEB's CV is enough to make you cry, which says a lot coming from a grown man with YouTuber stapled to his. But had HLEB chosen his career moves a bit more carefully, he might not have ended up playing for Russian nobodies at the age of 29. His move to Arsenal was probably the last good decision he ever made, swapping Stuttgart for the Gunners in June 2005 for 10 million quid. To be fair, he was a quality playmaker in North London. Yes, he won more trophies in 4 months at Birmingham than he ever did in 3 seasons at Arsenal, but still, he lit the place up, earned a move to Barcelona in 2008, where his career subsequently fell down a hole to die. 2006-2007, Tomas ROSICKY 6 out of 10. Oh, what might have been. 3 weeks before the 2006 World Cup, Arsenal were tying up a £6.8 million deal for Borussia Dortmund's 25-year-old playmaker in Tomas ROSICKY. It was smart to tie him down, considering he'd then go on to batter home 2 goals against USA in the World Cup, but his time at Arsenal was hampered by injuries. The poor fellow would probably have pulled the calf muscle reaching for the goddamn shampoo. Yes, he had his moments, like an FA Cup double at Anfield, but just 170 appearances in 10 seasons at the club. By the end, the lad was like a horse begging to be brought out back and shot in the head. They didn't do that. Instead, they just told him to spare the Prague. A far more humane end for the walking doctor's note. 2007-2008, Eduardo 7 out of 10. Imagine if this man's leg didn't snap like a Cornish pasty. I actually feel sorry for him. Things were going so well for the Croatian. Lads, he's got about as much Croatian in him as the Queen of England. When he first arrived from Shakhtar Donetsk in July 2007, yes, he was given the hardest job description in world football, replaced Thierry Henry. That's like asking a homeless drunk to win Miss World. But still, he put in a solid effort. 12 goals by Christmas, before Martin Taylor then put his size 13s through his shin. He returned a year later, smashed home a sensational goal against Burnley, but he was never the same and returned to Shakhtar in July 2010. 2008-2009, Andrei Arshavin 6 out of 10. Andrei Arshavin was officially the most overrated footballer of 2008. Like Milan Baros 4 years earlier, this was a lad who had Europe's elite eating out of the palm of his hands after a stunning display at the European Championships. But lads, do not judge a footballer on 4 games at a goddamn tournament. Christ above, it was that sort of nonsense and lunacy which almost had Barros signed for Real Madrid. Considering he soon wound up on the bench at Aston Villa, I'm guessing the likes of Zidane would have immediately got sick in their mouth at the mere sight of his first touch in training. Arsenal had to wait until January to sign for the Gunners, and there were highlights like a 4-goal display at Anfield. Big whoop, Julio Baptista did that. And engineering a win over Barcelona. Big whoop, so did David Moyes. But for the majority of his time in North London, Arsenal showed all the work ethic of a dead mouse and was spat back to Russia within 4 years. 2009-2010, Thomas Vermaelen 6 out of 10. Ah, Tommy. When Thomas Vermaelen first arrived at Arsenal from Ajax in a £10 million deal in July 2009, he looked inspired, replacing Kolo Touré, who back then was actually a top-class centre-half, instead of nowadays where he looks like he's just constantly come from eating his wife and kids. It was a tough ask, but the Belgian centre-half looked up to it. He was even scoring 4 goals in his first 3 games, and then the injuries hit. In total, he played 110 games in 5 seasons at the club before trading in the Gunners treatment room for Barcelona's. 2010, 2011, Laurent Koscielny 8 out of 10. I'm guessing if you now mention the name Laurent Koscielny within a 5-mile radius of the Emirates Stadium, you'd no doubt be spat at on the street. The way he announced his arrival at Bordeaux, after downing tools during pre-season, despite being club captain, it was like smearing your bowel movements all over the club's crest. But yeah, while this fella has all the morals of a Love Island contestant, he still proved himself to be a top defender at Arsenal. Arriving from Lorient in the summer 2010 for £8.5 million, he ended up playing 353 times for the club, winning 3 FA Cups. I mean, let's just forget the fact that he single-handedly gift-wrapped the League Cup final to Birmingham City and ended up treating Arsenal the same way Joe Jackson treated his kids. 2011-2012, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain 7 out of 10. If Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain ends up winning the league this season, Arsenal fans will probably feel like weeping into a crusty sock. This is a fellow who was plucked straight out of the Southampton lineup when he was a teenager. This was supposed to be the club's second chance at getting right Theo Walcott, but no.
Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain sets a goal a game target.
Right, well that was ambitious. Let's take a look. 132 league games, 9 goals. 9. His end product at Arsenal reflected that of an infertile badger. He did nothing other than flatter to deceive, get confused with Kieran Gibbs, and sign off for the Gunners with the most pitiful, pathetic midfield performance ever seen at Anfield. I'm not sure how he passed his audition to end up a Liverpool player next week, because honestly, that day he just played like a hungover goat. The Ox is a good player, don't get me wrong, but at Arsenal, his career was stalling. 2012-2013, Santi Cazorla 9 out of 10. I think we can all agree that watching Santi Cazorla is rejuvenation, culminating in his first Spanish cap in 4 years. It's a delight. This man had no luck with injuries at Arsenal, spending nearly 2 years in the treatment room and being hauled in for numerous operations. For God's sake, the fella spent more time getting split open than Holly off Geordie Shore. A £10 million arrival from Malaga in 2012, the man was a technical delight. Fired home 12 league goals in his first season, followed it up with a starring role in both FA Cup final wins over Aston Villa and Hull City, voted man of the match in the first, and was instrumental behind a 2-0 win at the Etihad in January 2015. But again, it's just a shame about the injuries. 2013-2014, Mesut Ozil 7 out of 10. This was the signing where Arsenal were supposed to have arrived, smashing their club transfer record on deadline day for a £42 million Mesut Ozil, arguably Real Madrid's second best player at the time. While the likes of Man United were dragging in a walking fridge from Everton, this was a real statement of intent. Christ above, judging by the reaction of Arsenal fans, you'd swear they just won a goddamn league title. But as always, let's not get crazy. For Christ's sake, they were still chucking Yaya Sanogo up front. Yeah, I know, alright? When comparing the stats of Ozil and Santi Cazorla, the German is the clear winner. But still, this was supposed to be the man to lead Arsenal to a league title. They haven't even come close. It's 6 years later, he can barely get past Joe Willock and the Arsenal team, goes missing on the road and displays all the mental grit of a wet blanket. You have to say, for all the hype, this man has been a disappointment. 2014-2015, Alexis Sanchez 10 out of 10. It's hard to imagine that Alexis Sanchez was once a threat on the pitch, let alone a world-class player, considering the man now waddles around Serie A, having played a bunch of games for Man United, looking like a wounded duck. But at Arsenal, the Chilean was a star, arriving for Barcelona for £31 million in July 2014, choosing not to replace Luis Suarez at Anfield. I mean, considering they had John Flanagan at the back, who can blame the poor lad. He played 166 games for the club, scored 80 goals, a virtual 1-2 record. That is insane stats. And when he waddled off to Old Trafford, Man United fans were hoping he would emulate Robin van Persie. He's looked more like Robin Sparkles. 2015-2016, Petr Cech 6 out of 10. It was sad to see a previously world-class shot stopper like Petr Cech disintegrate year on year, with his decline probably beginning when a clumsy Irishman cracked his skull like a Kinder Egg. By the time he wound up at Arsenal in June 2015 for £10 million, it was obvious the man was a shadow of past glories, as evidenced by his disastrous league debut, a 2-0 reverse at home to West Ham. He was about as good as a bug in a horse piss. 2016-2017, Granit Xhaka 6 out of 10. Let's be honest, the relationship between Arsenal fans and Granit Xhaka is very odd. On one hand, you have the plumber from Luton giving him career advice, and then you have this.
Granit Xhaka, score a goal, win the game for Arsenal, win the game for Arsenal, we love you, we love
Your fans comparing him to Patrick Vieira in one breath, despite him being about as inspirational as my goddamn yogurt, which has been sitting in the fridge since 2010. A £30 million arrival from Borussia Mönchengladbach in May 2016, the fellas played 139 times, scored 11 goals and cost his team on multiple occasions. Why on earth did Wenger shell out 35 million quid on a lad who makes more mistakes than Floyd Mayweather at a spelling bee? 2017-2018 Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang 10 out of 10. The last great signing of the Arsene Wenger era. Having finally tired of showing faith in glorified postmen up front, Wenger shelled out a club record £56 million to drag him in from Borussia Dortmund on deadline day January 2018. 72 games, 48 goals. This man is an absolute machine, and to think some Arsenal fans actually wanted to cash in on him last summer.
Am I up for selling him? Yeah, I am. 80 mil? I can't lie to you.
What? After becoming the first Arsenal player to lift a golden boot since 2012? Are they mental? On second thoughts, I withdraw my question. 2018-2019 Lucas Torreira 8 out of 10. Arsenal fans have a habit of hyping up talent. Nowadays, Dani Ceballos is apparently the second coming of Fabregas. For Christ's sake, the same fan base were predicting Ballon d'Ors for Emmanuel Frimpong, predicting Jack Wilshere for greatness, and spending their Sunday afternoons hiding in their Greg's toilets. Okay, I'm not sure how relevant the last one is, but I enjoy it. Torreira did everything right last season. Scored in the North London derby and even bagged himself a bicycle kick strike. He's faded a bit since, and the £26 million out from Sampdoria could yet end up being the next Wilshere, a professional donut eater at West Ham. Or he could be the second coming of Paddy Vieira. I mean, most likely it'll be somewhere in between, so I don't know. Aaron Ramsey? I mean, it's not bad. But anyway, that's the end of the video, lads. And let me know, what videos would you like me to keep this up as a bit of a series? Look at other most expensive players from your club and rate how they've done. Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, share and subscribe. Twitter and Instagram is there. And always, I'll talk to you in a while.